Hello, how are you all? Right, as you may know if you are in the Foxy Crafters group on Facebook, I posted a post that I made some of these Edith Holden monthly journal notebooks, whatever you want to call them. I made them last year and I did post them on my YouTube video, but what I didn't realise I didn't actually show how I made these ones. I did make a notebook, but I didn't make sort of a monthly notebook. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one today. I'm only going to make the one, but it's the same process for, you know, sort of throughout the months. You probably already know how to do these, and you know that's fine, but I did have a lovely lady that did sort of mention that I hadn't done the video, and I thought I had, but obviously I haven't. So a big hello and also a big hello and thank you to all my new subscribers. Lovely to have you. It's, yeah, as I've said many times, it truly does mean the world, so thank you for that. Right, let's get started. So anybody that is new to Edith Holden, which, you know, there is times that people don't always know Edith Holden, these are the two main books that you do get. I hope you can sort of see because of the light. The main one I use is The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady. This is usually the easiest to get a hold of. The nature one, similar sort of layout, similar sort of theme inside. You still have the months. Let's just find, like for instance, the March. The sort of thing that I would use, because obviously each set you've got each month that goes through. Like I said, this is my go-to one, because I've got obviously more of these than I have of this. But as I said, it's the same sort of layout, but the writing is just slightly different. The Country Diary is more of the handwritten script, which I think is beautiful. With the nature one I found, it is more of the printed, if you can see, it's more just printed style. That's one of the biggest differences that I've personally noted. And the images for each of the month are also different. So for instance, for the January in the nature one is, that was a good one, is completely different to the January in the Country Diary. So you've got quite a, you know, a good range of images and stuff, and obviously you don't need to do this sort of design, but I found that it's a good idea, you know, it's great for birthdays, or even as you could literally just use it as a notebook for that month, because the size that I do them, they're not very big, so it would sort of accommodate a month really. So anyway, they're the two books, like I say, that you can get a hold of. Yeah, the Country Diary is definitely my go-to and the easiest one, and I do like the writing in it. So as I said, I did make a notebook last year, which is pretty much the same aspect, you know, the same sort of layout. These are my new ones that I've just done the other week. The only difference is I've put a pocket on the front and I've got two little tags. That's basically the only extra that I've got with these. But I want to, for anybody that is new and they want to just make something, and it's so easy and simple to make, this is definitely a go-to for me, because my creativity and everything just completely, you know, as I said in my last video, but I am not going down that road. I'm, you know, feeling a little bit better in myself, so let's keep the positivity going. Right, so I've got just some ordinary craft card. Now you can use any card that you want. I just found that this is perfect weight for doing these sort of books. this is I think it's 280 GSM, so it is quite hard, and as you can hear, it's, you know, quite a stiff card. So all I do is I fold it in half, and then leave my bone folder and I just fold it like that. Okay, so that's the basic outline. Well, this is your basic journal. Right, now when I'm doing the monthly notebooks, what I try and do is I try and get everything to go with that month. So the front cover, the back cover, even my border for the outside, the border for the inside, and the writing inside is all to do with that particular month. So for instance, with the January one that I've got, it's obviously the January first, you know, front page. We've got the January images on the back for the border, the writing on the inside and on the back as well, and then obviously the border for the inside of the journal as well. So what I've done, I've already, one of my many books that I've took apart, I'm actually going to make this one for myself. It's a shocker because I don't usually make anything for myself, but I thought, you know, for a change, let's make a notebook for me. So I'm going on my birth month, so it's October for me. So as you can see, I mean, obviously I've gutted the book. This is the second one, so there's not much there's not much left on this. So all I do is get to the month. Now, one thing I have noticed, you will always get one page that's got the month before the actual image page, if that makes sense. So for instance, you've got the end of September, and then we've got October, but then if you turn it over, then you've got the image with the month on it again. So I want this page, so I've already took that one out. I'd already pulled that out before I even decided to do this video. So I know that that's the front cover sorted. Okay, I could use that for the inside. That's an option. I don't like using the writing on the outside of the cover, but that's just personal choice. If you decide that you want to do that, that's fine. You don't have to follow how I do it. So what I do is I then look through and I think, right, okay, so that's October, that's October. When you're doing a lot, it does get confusing. So this time I did try and keep everything together, because on some of the images it doesn't actually tell you what the month is, and if you don't look at the numbers at the top, you completely lose track. So I think that that page there could be possible for the spine. So what I'm going to do is take the page out. I think what I'm going to do is just pull that out there, and then I'm going to half, if it will rip. And one thing about Edith Holden books, the paper is nice and thick, so that helps with the stability of your notebook as well. So I know that that's October. Keep that in there. And that's October, so I want to just pull that off. And the same with this one. We'll do it. Sometimes it comes out really easy, and sometimes it's a little bit of force that's needed. So that should hopefully be enough. If not, this is where a second book kind of comes in handy, but I have got bits in my box, and I will show you my box, because as I said before, I do have a designated Edith Holden box, and this is this literally holds everything. I don't chuck anything away. So I've got loads of little bits of paper. I keep everything, and it doesn't matter if some of it's got card on it. I'll keep those bits because I can use them for tags or little notelets. Yeah, so it's a good size box. So I've always got that I can fall back onto as well. So yeah, it's just an ordinary, I can't remember, I think I got this from the range actually. It's just an A4 plastic box, and it holds quite a bit. So back to making a journal. Well, it's not a journal, it's a notebook. I keep saying it's journal, so do excuse me. Just get a mouthful of my tea. I've got a cup of tea ready. Right, now, where's my pointer one? Okay, what I didn't get is my cutter. So I'll just get my cutter from over here. And one thing I have found, when you are using a cutter like this, whether it's because the pages of the book are, because it's an old book, or it could actually be just the paper itself, I find sometimes it does chew it. That could also be when my blade is getting blunt a little bit as well, but just bear that in mind. So what I want to do, I'm going to just trim this off. Now I always try and avoid this stitched bit here, because I want it to be as flat as flat. I mean, sometimes it is a little bit awkward to get away with that. Now I want to get my card. One thing I don't do is I don't put it right to the corner, well, right to the fold I should say. This, for me, the first time I've done this, when I was just trying them, I did actually put it right to the edge, and by the time you've sort of put everything on, like you stuck it down and then you put the outside bit on, it either starts lifting or it's just too thick. And because the card is quite thick anyway, I just try not to have too much on the actual fold itself. So what I'm going to do is I always sort of take it about 1/4 of an inch, yeah, it's about a centimetre, I reckon, just over a centimetre. Once again, this is just personal preference. And then all I do, it's quite simple, I don't want to make the pages up. I'm just going to get, I know I've got to scrap it, let me just get a scrap bit of paper. Should have got this before. Oh, sorry about this. Okay. I always like to get just a scrap bit of card paper. I got this card, but I don't like the colour of it. It was for a custom journal, and I had to get a big pack of card, and I don't I don't like it, so I just use it for scrap. Right, get my glue. I've got to get some more of this. Right, and then all I do is I just use a Pritt stick. Simple, that's what I said. This is so easy to do. And then just make sure, once again, that you get the edges. And then you just make sure that you've got everything covered. I will warn you now that if you do it by Pritt stick, I find it's a lot better because it's not wet, and it doesn't warp the paper too much. If you use the likes of Mod Podge or PVA, I sometimes find that just, it makes it a little bit too wet. So, you know, if that kind of makes sense. Right, now, what I do is I just roughly put it on. I don't make sure it's all secure first, because I hold it up. Now you won't be able to see this really, but I hold it up and I let the light come from the back of it, because I can see the card underneath. So I know that I can just move that up just slightly if I need to, and it can come across this way if I need to, but I don't want it to come over too much because of this bit here. So that, let me just move that out of the way. That is the first bit on, and then all we do is we just press that down with the bone fold up. And while that is in place and it's drying slightly, just go over it again, I then do the back bit. So for the back, now I'm not sure, I may have to use another bit. Yeah, I might have to find another piece for the spine, but that's fine. That's fine. I can change it slightly for mine. No, I need to pile everything on the cutter, and I need the cutter. Okay, I just want to trim the edge of that. Sometimes you can have enough pages for that, for a specific month. I think the good ones are usually about June, July time. I found that you get quite a few for that, but the rest of the time it can be a little bit hit and miss. So if you are doing it, definitely, I mean, I'm saying that, but that's for going on for me. So yeah, I would have to have sort of another book, or you know, that sort of thing. But you can change, you can put writing on the back, you can change the image, it doesn't need to be the same. I think the first ones that I was doing, I think I was sort of struggling to get everything the same. But yeah, that's why this one I might just use a different image for the spine, because I'm not too bothered, because this is just for mine. It's just to give you an idea what it will be like. So just lift it up so it don't stick too much. I'm not too bothered if there is glue on the inside anyway. Right, if you've got it upside down, always remember that you've got to turn your paper, because I didn't do this once and then I wondered why one side looked a little bit odd compared to the other. Oh, got the card. Okay, so once again, just lift it up slightly. I'm not too bothered whereabouts this sort of falls, because it's not got any writing on that I need. So press that down. Let's move this out of the way. Pop that to the side. Like I said, I know I've done this before, but I just want to show you just how I do my version of the monthly thing. And like I said, I mean, these make brilliant gifts, or you can just use them for yourself. Right, scissors helps. So now that this side should hopefully be a bit dry, all I do is I just trim edge. Oh, come on. Tuck that to the side. Even those little bits here, if you've got a number on, or if you've got a bit of writing, if you haven't got anything on, then yeah, I do sort of get rid of them, because I can't really see me using them. So yeah, that one you can't really see what it's saying. So let's go over here. Like I said, I mean, you can use anything to do this, absolutely anything. And if you are new to making notebooks or journals, or you know, things like that, then I think this is a good way to start, because it is a simple process. And even when you stitch the journal, even when you stitch the pages in, you don't even have to do it by hand. You could try, not so much try it, because I would have thought it would actually do it. If you are confident on a machine, a sewing machine, you could even do that. Or you could even just put a piece of, I would have thought that a piece of elastic might work. I've not actually tried it, so if you do decide to do that, I'd love to know if it would still work. Okay, so that is your journal, notebook. I keep saying journal. When I say journal, I mean notebook. I do apologise. So that's how it would look. Okay, now what I'm going to do, now I'm going to put the pages on the inside before I do anything, because I'm going to do the corners and I will ink round it. So it may be a little bit of a long video again. I'm so sorry, because I seem to have my videos quite long, but I think we'll do that one for this side and that one for, yeah, do that way. But I want to sort of share what I'm doing, and as I said, I'm not editing my videos because I don't, one, I don't really understand how you edit it, and two, what is the point? Because that's just how I am. I can't see the point in doing that sort of thing, so yeah, so just speed me up or just switch me off, basically. There's the two options. I want, let's do this one first, so get me paper back. I do try and hurry up with the videos a little bit more though. I'm going to turn that one over so it's not too long, because I don't think you really want to be listening to my voice droning on all the time. Try not to waste too long. To do it like this, it's easier, faffing around. Okay, on the inside I do the same as well. Sorry, I hope you can see. Where the spine is, I always leave a little bit of a gap. So what I do on the outside, I also do on the inside as well. So just doesn't matter if the glue just goes over slightly. You can just wipe it off and it will dry anyway. But yeah, I can't remember if I said that if you are using a Pritt stick, it drinks. If you're doing a whole month, a whole year, for every, you know, for all the months, and you use a Pritt stick, make sure you have a good supply of them. I think I go through, I think for this size, and this is the bigger one, I think I went through about 3 or 4, and that is everything, you know, gluing literally all elements that you could possibly think of. Okay. So we put about there. Just check. I think that just needs to. That's fine. And one thing you don't have to. Well, I don't worry about. If it's just slightly off, it's not a problem. Always remember, these are handmade things. Nothing is perfect. I'm good at saying this because I always make sure it has to be perfect, so I kind of contradict myself there. But that's what I'm trying to get through to myself. You don't need to have it perfect. Alright, so spine's that. And then just do the same. And like I said, you can use absolutely anything for these, but they're a good size. And I actually made some small, I think they were about half the size. I actually can't remember what size they were. Same process, but just using just Edith Holden pages. I made little tiny sort of notebooks. I thought they were really cute. So let's do again. Like so. Now I think, yeah, that should be fine. Oh, kind of stuck it down on the thing. I've left this out because I'll be cutting my paper. That's why. I thought I'll work on this, it'll be fine. Got 2 journals that I'm sort of in the middle of doing, and I'm trying. I can't do a process video on one of them because it's a long video, and to be quite honest with you, I'm not quite sure how it's going to turn out. So that's going to be a surprise one, I'm afraid. But I will definitely do a video when it's done. The second one, I'm actually doing a soft cover, and I've never done a soft cover one. So a little bit out of my comfort zone, but do you know what? I'm going for it, and I'm sort of, you know, I've got an idea what I'm doing, a little bit of an idea, but you just have to go with it. I think I'm making it a bigger thing than it actually is. You know, I mean, I'm not scared to use a sewing machine because I used to sew all the time, so that's not an issue. I think it's just because I'm so used to making my journals hard back, and this is soft, so it's, yeah, it's definitely different. Right. Oh, come off. That's the only thing when you're doing this, unfortunately. It can stick to your scissors. I've actually got some Teflon scissors that I got, the X-Cut ones. I've had them for a few years. And to be quite honest, I've still got things stuck to them because, yeah, these are them. And I've still got tape that's stuck, and yeah, I don't think they're very good at all. Whether it's something I'm doing wrong, I'm not sure. And I know I'm not the best at sort of cleaning my scissors, but that's like literally on the first use of using it was the I don't know if you've heard it, or even you might use it. You know the rolls of the red double-sided tape? It's really strong. It was that. And that, yeah, it didn't like it at all. So that is the outside. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my little corner chomper thing. Now this can be a little bit hard sometimes, but this is absolutely brilliant. I mean, that is really thick, you know, and it goes through it like butter, so I'm happy with that. Right, and then what I will do is I will quickly ink up. Now I've just got to, because I've just changed my my spongy thing, my foamy thing there. Hopefully this won't take long, because I've also just, well, I re-inked my ink the other day. So then all I do, actually it might be easier, is just go around the edges. Okay, don't worry about the spine, because obviously I'm putting the you know, the decorative edge bit down. I know when I've done the notebooks last year, just the ordinary sort of tutorial, I did get asked about the template for the spine. And for the life of me, I scanned it in and I was going to sort of list it so that you could use it. But when I printed it to try it, it actually made it bigger than it needed to be. And I have no idea why. And that kind of put me off, because I thought if you print it off, it's going to sort of throw the pattern, or the design I should say, because it sort of comes out, you know, these bits sort of come out, and obviously if it makes it bigger, that's not going to be level where it needs to be. So I'm kind of, yeah, I'm a bit sort of stuck with that. So I will have to have a look and find out how I can sort of sort that out, I suppose. Okay, these are the tricky bits. I'm trying to hurry up so you're not just watching me ink everything. Okay. Like I said, these, you can use these for absolutely anything. I mean, you can make them even smaller if you want to. If you don't want to use the month, I mean, the reason they're this big is because obviously it's the size for the month. Right, I'm going to sit that to the side to let that dry a little bit, so that can stand there. Now let's concentrate. Put my lid back on my glue. Now we will concentrate on the pages. Now for the size of, let me have a quick mouthful of my tea, excuse me. Now for the sizes, well, for the size of the journal, no, the notebook. Oh, keep doing it. I don't want it too thick, so I always find that this is about a good thickness for it. And obviously it's a little bit thicker because I've put the extra tabs in, well, tags. But even if they're out and it's on its own, that holds 10 single pages, and that I find is perfect. It's not too bulky and it's not too thin. So all I do, as I've sort of showed on, you know, videos before, but like I say, if you're new and watching this, I'm doing it from the very beginning so that you can see. I don't mind, because you know, if I can help, that's what my goal is. What I've done is I've just used some tea dye paper, and I'm not bothered if mine has got rips in it or anything like that, because it's going to get trimmed and it's going to have the corners rounded anyway. And then all I do is I fold each one singular, and then I put them all together, and then I just use my bone folder and I just sort of press them down to make sure that they're all level. I then sort of bunch them all together, and then I just put a piece of card or a piece of paper, it doesn't matter which, and I've got a paper clip, or bulldog clip. That's just to hold them in place so when I'm cutting. So what I do, let me just stand up, it'll be easier for me. I then get my Stanley knife, and I've already marked it, so I want it 14 centimetres wide by 20.5 centimetres long. So I'll just show you. So you go from the edge to where you need it, and I just put a little tiny pencil mark, and then I only do 2 going across, and same at the bottom there, and then from the top I do the same, so it's 20.5, okay, and I do the same on that. So what I do, I always do the downside first, so I just roughly gauge it, and with a mat like this, what I usually do is I just make sure that the bottom piece of my signature is just on a line. That way I know everything should be level, and then I can move it backwards and forwards to make sure then that the line that's coming downwards on the mat is also where I need to cut. So even, I've noticed sometimes when you mark it with a pencil, it can just be off just slightly, if you haven't got a line that goes straight down, which I don't find is very helpful when you cut this, because sometimes when you cut it, you're left with a bit of a pencil line and you don't really want that. So all I do then is I just get my knife, and make sure you hold it tight, and obviously fingers out the way, and then I just drag this down, and I hope it does kind of cut, because I haven't changed the blade in it. So, and then I just take your time, there's no need to rush. And obviously I know a lot of people use a rotary cutter. You can use that, use whatever you're comfortable using. I mean, if you just want to use the paper trimmer, just use a paper trimmer. But to be quite honest, I can be a bit stupid with that, and I always take either too much off or not enough, because unless you've got a paper trimmer that will do the whole lot, like this, then yeah, it's not really going to sort of work in your favour. So that's that trimmed, and then once again all I do is just put that up to the bottom of the line going across, put my ruler on where the pencil lines are, and then I can either move it backwards and forwards to get whichever line's closest to come downwards, and then I just press that down, and then just take it over. Okay, and that's that. That's as easy as it is, and I always remember to put the blade back in the case. So that can go in the bin. Right, and that is your signature. Right, now, like I said, I'm not too bothered about mine being sort of rough around the edges. I think it's because my blade actually needed changing. But this is my journal, so I'm not too bothered. Right, now, what I do is, you might have noticed I actually flipped it, because I always like the side that hasn't been cut to be at the top, and obviously, unfortunately, the side this has had to be cut anyway. But I always think it looks just a little bit better. But once again, personal preference. And also what paper you use. I mean, you don't have to use plain paper. You can use line paper, you can use multicoloured paper, you can use absolutely anything. Now, what I do is I go for the centre, and then I get the card again and just open this up, and then all I do is I just pop that over like that, make sure that's tucked right in, and then I put one there and I get another one, and I can find it, and then I just put that at the bottom this time of the other. Gets a bit fiddler. Make sure that's in, and I just put that at the bottom to keep that secure there. So we've got it's secure at the top and it's secure at the bottom as well. Okay, now what I didn't get is I didn't actually get my marker for where my holes need to be. So my mini lines. No, I'm going to have to do this by eye, but that's fine because I've got an idea where it needs to be. Right, get my, where you gone? Get my tool. Okay. I'm going to pop that in like that, and I'm going to pop that in like that, so I know that it's down there, and yeah, it'll be about there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in as well, so I can do it all together. Okay, so that would be the top. It doesn't really matter what's top and the bottom. Okay, and I'm just going to judge, because I want this to be in the middle of this. So I hope you can see it okay. Okay, so I've got it about right. And then I'm going to pop that in the middle. Press down. And I'm going to lock this in place. I usually just leave it as it is. But I need to do it now. I did have my little project tool. Okay, so I'm going to put one there. Goes in that. I'm going to put one there. And I'm going to put one there. Okay, and I'm going to take them out. Everything should be marked. So super easy. But obviously, if you haven't got one of these, which is, you know, not a problem, you can just do it by eye. What I usually do, tip, and I'm sure you've seen it before. I usually get a piece of card or piece of paper. Measure the height that you want it. So obviously this is a full sheet of A4, and then all I do is I just cut a piece off. So say for instance, let's do, if I do this, this is just literally a rough guide. You can just, nothing ever seems to want to rip for me. I'll just cut a bit off. Okay. This doesn't have to be perfect at all. Right, and then put that in there. What I then do is I fold that again, and what you can do is get your paper, pop it in your paper, and you can measure from the top to the bottom, or if you want to know the centre, fold that the scrap bit of paper that you're using as a guide in half. That then gives you the centre there. So if you've got a needle or a brodger like I've got, whatever, pop a little hole in the centre. Oops. And you know you have your piece of paper. This is just slightly bigger, so make this the size of your signature, not so much the size of that like I just did, so I do apologise for that one. And then what you can do is you've got the centre of your signature, so you can then put your hole where you want it and then measure however many holes you want from either side. So for me, I always go for a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, and I always take it about 1/4 inch from either end, and well, it works out about 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, I think, maybe say. It's about 1/2 inch actually, not 1/4 inch. Yeah, it's actually about 3/4 inch from either side, from either end, and then obviously you've got the middle one. But there's different ways of you sort of putting the holes in, and you don't even have to measure it if you want to be, you know, a free reign basically. Right. So I hope that kind of makes sense. But if you need, you know, if you're not sure and you would like me to sort of help, just let me know. So I've just cut a piece of my thread, which I think is far too long for what I actually need. Oh, I just nearly made a boo-boo error there because I need to put my bit in the middle. See, I nearly forgot. Okay. Right, I'm going to have to choose. Oh, I've got a picture. No, I don't want to use that one. Right, I'm going to have to choose a picture for the inside. So let's go for... Ooh. Let's go for... I don't think... See, I look at the pictures and I'm sort of, oh, I could use that for something else. It's terrible. It's choices, that's the problem. Ooh. Now, see, that's the October one out of the nature book, and it's a completely different image, and it's got a really nice image on the back. So I might use that, because I could use that for both. So that's a possible. So I really should have been more prepared for this. I'm so sorry. Let's look for... I'm trying to keep everything the same. I mean, I'm not, like I say, I'm not too bothered because it's obviously, it's going to be my little notebook, so it can be whatever. I really don't mind. I'm trying to keep it the same. No, I don't want that one. What page are we on? So if that was... That doesn't tell you a page, that's helpful. I think it was 139, I think, so... Could be in October here. Ooh, this one would be nice. Let's go for the... I think this is actually what I had on the one I'd done. But that's fine. Okay, so let's go for that one. Pretty painless. Okay. Oh. Now, what you need to do is you need to fold, because I've got to get 2 out of this, I'm going to fold the page just a bit. Okay. Now, like I said, I've got a template, and even that, I mean, that folds quite a lot, but that's fine. So what I'm going to do is just judge where I want it to go, and then, oops, make sure obviously it's at the edge, and then I get my pencil and just draw like that. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut closer to that so I'm not wasting too much of the other side. Not quite sure what the matter is with these scissors, but I think I'll change them to my other ones. Feels like I've got a bit of resistance when I'm cutting, I'm not sure why. Okay, so once again, fold it again and just press it down, and then you can just draw around it. And obviously, you know, you don't have to have a border, you can just use the page. You can go the whole page, you can put edge to edge and, you know, have it join it. You can put lace on it, you can, anything you fancy to put on it, you can do it. This is just my design that you know, this is what I came up with. I thought, you know, something different. So let's quickly do these. So I apologise, like I say, that it's another long video, but I just wanted to show you that, you know, how you do make these monthly notebooks. Yeah, I got it right. Okay, and then that's that one, and then what I don't think I will do on camera because it's really boring, is I won't round the pages of my journal. I might do the first one just so you can see sort of what you do, but I'll do the rest sort of off camera because that is going to be quite time consuming. So it might help a little bit speed it up. Okay, right. Now, one of them obviously excuse me, I have another mouthful in my tea. Right, one of them has obviously got to go on the inside. So what I do is I keep it folded just while I quickly ink round it. I think I will actually do this one for the middle. So I quickly go down the edge. She says. Might have to ink it up or re-ink my ink pad again. Although I've done it the other day, it doesn't seem, I don't think I've done it enough actually, because I do use this a lot. This is my go-to ink. Yeah, the Vintage Photo. I used to use the walnut stain, and I do use the walnut stain every now and then, but not as much as the Vintage Photo. So, okay, let's do that spine. And I'll do the other one while I'm here, because then when it comes to using it, it's already done. This is the time consuming bit, just inking everything. I know when I was doing the whole set, I cut them all out, and I sort of sat watching movies, just inking everything. Have a little production line. Okay. So, like I said, sorry it's sort of taking too long. Oops. Okay, right. Now, what I'm going to do is, it was this one I think I said that I was putting in the centre. So all I do is just fold it back like that. And then as with the as with everything else, I just use my Pritt stick. So I really make sure, yeah, you can see everything. I really make sure that the edges have got plenty of the glue, because that's where you want it to grip, because you want it to go as much as possible into the fold of the actual notebook itself. Otherwise you could end up with gaps. Just make sure that's all covered. Having a light on really helps because you can see what's glistening. Okay, let me lift you up. She says I missed a bit. And you don't worry if you do miss a bit, because if it's a bit that you can actually get to, you can put it in anyway. So let me just sit you there. Right, bring this back in. Now, what I do And I actually found it easy on the last lot that I'd done than the ones I'd done before. Just fold that over, excuse the dogs, hear a blade of grass grow, and then, it's not really working, that's it. Right, I fold this over and then I just marry it up to the fold of the journal itself, well, the notebook itself. So I don't know if you can see, I'll just lift that up. Right, so I've put this side down and that's where the fold is on the notebook. Okay, and then all I do is I get my, I get my bone folder that's got a bit of a point on it, and then I just press that down as much as possible. But I fold the other side over like that, and then I press that down again, and I actually open up the journal, the notebook. I keep saying journal, I'm so sorry, because that then puts it in place. So when you open and shut, that doesn't move now. Because what I found when I've done them before, I put it in, but then I shut it, and I left it shut, and then when I opened it, at the bottom, you had a gap, and that didn't really sort of work very well. So that is now in place. So I just press all that down, and you can make sure that everything's fine. You can open and shut as many times as you like. Okay, right. What I should have done is I actually should have put that on before I put holes in it, because the holes were just sealed up. Okay, I think I've got them. Yeah, that's fine, I can just... So that's one tip. Before you actually put your holes in, put that in first. But if you do forget like I did, it's fine, it's not a problem. Right, so that's that. Don't worry if it just, you know, if it's moved slightly or anything like that, because you just work, you can leave it flat. I mean, I can't leave it flat at the minute, but on the others I did leave it flat to dry, and then you can fold it, but I don't always do that. I'm naughty, I don't do that. Right, let's stitch our signature in. So back to where we were. So we've got our signature, and making sure it's the right way around. So put your needle in the middle, and then find the middle of this, and then just pull it through. And I always go up to the top, so go up to the top and poke through. So you just need to locate like that, and then give it a little wiggle. I always pull it a little bit tighter, and then poke it back through the same hole. I mean, we probably all know how to do this, and I don't want to sort of think that you don't know what you're doing, because that's not what I'm about. And then just do the same, just like that. And then I pull it tight just slightly, and then put the needle underneath the other bit. Take my needle off. And then once again, I just pull it, so the bit I've just threaded through, I pull down this way, and the bit that was in the middle, I pull upwards. So just be careful that obviously it doesn't snap, because I have had that done plenty of times before. I think the worst one is when you are actually having it in a journal. So that is pretty secure. I'm quite happy with that. Yep, that's secure. Oops, can't be the thread off. Oh dear. These things. Tell you it's handy having nails. It's not, because I can still never pick the thread up. Okay. And then I just trim that. Put that in the bin. And that is your signature in place. Right. So it will flatten. It's just the paper's quite springy. So all I do then, like I said, I'm not going to do it all. Yeah, the blade definitely needs trimming on Monday. Oh, let me put my glue back on for a sec. Right. What I do is you can do it either one page at a time, or I have done it 2, 3 at a push, but I'll just show you on one, is I just round each of the pages. Now you can do this before you stitch it in, that's not a problem, it's entirely up to you how you want to do it. You don't have to round the corners at all. Oh, that one's just slightly off. Yeah, you don't have to round the corners at all, you can leave it as it is. It's not an issue. Like I say, this is just my design, this is just how I decided to do it. But that's that. Right, now the top, if you put the centre bit in and it does overlap a little bit, because sometimes they do, you literally just trim it off. It's that simple. You just trim off, and then I can just ink that bit up again. Do that bit. And then we are going to attach the front. Well, the bit on the edge. So when you do that, I always like to make sure that everything's fine. Because I have done, the reason I'm going to say this bit is because with me leaving a gap, you've got to kind of judge what the best size is, because I've put the front cover on and I've made it too wide, and when this goes on you can actually see a bit of the brown, so obviously I've had to start again. So that's the only thing that I do sort of advise, you know, if you are going to put something like this on. So let's get our bit of scrap card. Well, it's not really scrap card, it's good card, I just don't like the colour, simple as. Just blue is just not my colour. Okay, let's get the, well, it's not a, it looks like a turquoisey colour, it's not a blue if you know what I mean. I don't know what kind of blue you would call it, but it's definitely not something that I would use and feel I don't feel comfortable about using it. Does that make sense? I don't know if anybody else sort of has them feelings that if you're not comfortable using a paper or a card or just a colour, your projects never seem to feel good. I always get that vibe off of, I think maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just weird. I'm just a weird person. Well, I always know that I'm kind of weird anyway, so that's how it goes. Right. And then, same as before, only slightly easier, because what I do is cup it in my hand, so it's sort of folded a little bit like that, if you can see. And then I get the notebook, and then I just pop it into where that is. This also hides your stitching, so it secures that in place. And then I just slowly sort of prise it down like that. And then you can get your bone folder, get your bone folder and just gently press it down, more for the edges than anything. And this has got a little bit of an overhang as well, but I'll do exactly the same. Got a bit of glue stuck everywhere. Okay. It is a lot better if you can give it a chance to dry. because obviously when it's wet there's still a little bit of movement about, and it's, yeah, you're not really getting a true thing, you know, true, I can't think of the word, fill in the blank. A true whatever you like. So just ink the edge, and that is it. That is, oh, the only other thing, saying that is it, the only other thing that I do, and this is a complete optional, and I'm not going to really do it in this one, but I do actually do a bookmark, and once again I do follow whatever the month is to go with the bookmark, but I haven't really got a bit, and I'm not going to scratch around in the paper. But for instance, I use something like this. It's maybe got, you know, obviously it'll be a bit more, you know, decorative, and I just stick it on a piece of card, doesn't matter what kind of card, and then I will show you in the one that I've done. And then all I do, and put a bit of paper down because I don't want to get anything on this. All I do is it's usually just a bit smaller than the actual notebook itself, not much. But yeah, it's just the Edith Holden book page on one side and whatever colour card on the other. This is just, I think that was an ivory. That was ivory or white. I can't make out the colour in this light. I think it was a white actually. And then I just ink round it, and I rounded the corners, and it's got an eyelet and a little bit of sari silk. And like I say, in the notebooks that I've done this time, I've also put a little pocket and the same sort of thing in these. So it's so easy to do, and it does kind of get your creative juices going a little bit. Well, I found that this is sort of my go-to because it's easy, there's not a lot to it, but you get a good thing at the end of it. So I'm sorry if you've, you know, seen my tutorials last year and you think, oh god, she's repeating herself again, but a lot of people maybe hadn't. So I'd been asked about the monthly one, so I've done it, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it gives you inspiration to, you know, if you've got an Edith Holden book, you know, to maybe take it apart. I must admit it did take me a good few months to actually tear open the first one. It's because they are just so beautiful. But yeah, I hope like I say, I hope you have enjoyed it, and if you have, you know, any questions, do ask. I love hearing from you. And thank you so much for sort of everybody's support, and, you know, as you do, I'm picking up all the little bits from the corner rounder. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I really have enjoyed doing this video with you. And I'll be back soon. So take care, and bye for now. Bye.